All right, we are picking up with a new episode, and the topic of this episode is bad employees. They are everywhere. They are wreaking havoc on customers and business owners, and this is happening. It doesn't matter what size your operation is. You could be a small business, you could be a global corporation that everybody knows. Bad employees are everywhere. I don't completely understand it. Of course, bad employees are nothing new, but the pervasiveness is new. I think that we like it doesn't. All we have to do is go to a store, and we're going to find a bad employee really, really fast. David, what is your like? What are you experiencing on your end?
On my end, people don't want to work anymore. They want to work as less hours as possible. They'll call in literally last minute. Oh, I can't go to work today. This came up. A bunch of excuses. They want to make as much money as possible, but they don't want to work behind it. I have bonuses in place, and before 2020, all my employees were always on it. All of them taking bonuses. It's been almost 2 years. No one wants to take any bonuses. All you have to do is this. All you have to do is that. Ask, if you get a certain amount of reviews, you're gonna get a bonus. And they don't even want to go ask the clients. Oh, all they have to say, can you leave us a review? No, I don't want to do it. It's getting tough. Bad attitudes. They're miserable at work, and that's the hardest part of a business. The hardest part is dealing with employees. My wife started an entrepreneur group, and we just had our first meeting. Everyone said the same thing. The hardest part is dealing with the employees. It's becoming a nightmare. And if you notice, you go to a lot of business and they're understaffed. My dentist understaffed, great place, but he's just having trouble finding dental assistants, and it's a problem, but you have to tackle it, right? So what I try doing is I'm paying a lot more than before. I'm trying to give them better experiences, but none of this is working. So the good thing, I do have a business partner and a trainer that's been with me for a long time, and if we're missing two of our assistant trainers, it doesn't really matter. But it's tough. I don't have the answer yet. I could tell you what could kind of help, but yeah.
I don't think anybody has the exact answer. So all we can do is work off our anecdotes, right? Like all we can do is gather our experiences and share them. And I think one thing that I think is happening, and I think it's just more of a mindset now, is people want someone else to do the work. Like everyone's looking for that next person. And a lot of these employees don't realize you are that person. You are the person that is going to carry this bag from point A to point B. There's no other person. That's what I've hired you to do. And everybody wants to be the one that outsources it or has it easy. And I think what I noticed too is a lot of people now, they show up at the workplace and they are tanking. Like they get there and that's all they do. Like they just need to physically be there, and their performance is going to be horrible because they're tired or they're in a bad mood or they don't want to be at work. Even though they want to get paid, they don't want to do the requisite work to earn that money. They think that they should just get paid because they've shown up. Like that should be enough. And that seems to be a real thing, as ridiculous as it sounds. That's, I think, what is happening in some cases. What do you think?
I agree. So I went to a seminar. This had to be right before the pandemic, how to deal with employees. It was a pricey seminar, but I'm on, let me go see, because anything could help, right? So they said this, I'm 40 years old, and they were saying that my generation the way we're raising our kids and the way they're raising their kids, we make them feel entitled. And I've seen this even with family, with close friends, um, where they'll tell their kids, "Oh, don't let no one take advantage of you. Oh, that's not your job. You shouldn't have to do that. They're not paying you for that." So they're getting this fed into their head at a very young age. So when they go to work, let's just say, you work at Walmart and you're supposed to stock the boxes, and one day there's a spill, the employee will walk right through it. That's not my job. It's like,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
just clean it. But no, I don't get paid for that. You know what? Can you, you have a cashier, there's no one in line. Hey, can you come help me put this clothes away on the rack? Nope, it's not my job. I'm not gonna do that. So it's tough, right? It's tough. And now they need to hire someone to do any little thing. So these businesses, a lot of businesses don't make a lot of money. A lot of them are zombie businesses where they literally just get through paying the bills and there's no profit. You got to make yourself useful. Enjoy your work. Go to work. And not only that, if the manager or owner sees that you're truly putting in the work, you think they're going to want to, hire someone else for that management position. They're going to want you because they know you could handle it. I've heard people that have told me personally, I've been there for 5 years. They got this new guy. They made him manager. They don't want to hire me. They're haters. And then I remember that same person telling me, oh, hell no. They wanted me to go to another department that day. I ain't doing it. Hell no, that's not my department. And I'm thinking, how did you want to get that higher position? Of course, they're not going to hire you. But the sad thing is they truly believe themselves. They truly believe they deserve it, that they're good employees, and that the company's just out to get them.
And I think there are the counter argument, right? If we were going to take the counter position, which I've listened to some content on this, is like, okay, well, we're being disrespected, mistreated, underpaid. Those things may be true in certain circumstances. We know that, these different companies or business owners, they may be engaging in bad practices where they are underpaying or they're disrespecting you. But if you keep going from workplace to workplace and you're never happy with any of them, then it's you that's the problem, right? Because people want you to reciprocate that, they are paying you money and you have to, in exchange, help them. And sometimes that comes in the form of being dynamic, like you said. Oh, this isn't my job responsibility. Well, technically, no, we didn't bullet point every single last thing that we might ask you to do, but we need some help. Are you going to help us? And if you're not, like you're on the bad employee side of things. So I think it is this is everywhere. This is happening all the time. And an example I was thinking of as you were talking is NBA players. And at first I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was like, oh, well, maybe, it's a specific situation I don't know about, right? But when I see it happening over and over again, I don't think these NBA players realize that if they're not playing, they're like the machine is stopping, because their playing is what makes them the millions of dollars. It's not because that they think they're cool. It's because you have to play on the basketball court. That's why the money comes in. That's where the ad revenue comes in. And I think the NBA has actually started to experience they've gotten to a place where they're actually starting to make less money because these players are just not playing. And it's like, who's going to watch the game? Okay, the star player now has decided that they don't want to play because, I don't feel like it, or I don't like the way the coach is handling this.
Load management, that's the new thing.
Right. Kawhi Leonard, like I can't play anymore because I'm injured. Well, you've either got to retire or you've got to play. It's one of the two. But if you're that hurt, then retire. And if you're not, then play.
Yeah. No, and think about it. I've been to a few basketball games. I used to go watch the Lakers. And back then, for a family of four, probably get in there for $300 something, $400. Now, to take a family of four, it's going to cost you, and for pretty bad seats, it's going to be about $2,000. So let's just say I go because I want to watch LeBron James. I saved up ahead of time. It took a lot for the average family to purchase those tickets. And I show up and he doesn't play because of load management.
Right.
And I'm not getting a refund. I'm not getting my money back. Of course, people are going to stop going.
But I mean, so they've, the players, a lot of times they're getting these, like, maybe some of them aren't huge paychecks, but a lot of the players that I think about that are doing this, and really they're the ones that can afford to do it because they're talented enough to where the teams are willing to put up with these type of shenanigans, but they're making so much money per year, and yet they somehow don't see why they get criticism when they don't play. And I think this translates, across everywhere, right? Like, you have these people that they get to this job, they get hired, they say everything, they get hired, and then they go there and like you said, I think in the last episode, that the first day there, the second day they get there, they're already looking for days off. They're already trying to find out when their breaks are, how long their breaks are. Oh, is this not enough? And so a lot of people, like, to them, the work is just how they get their money, but they don't realize the other part of that is why someone's paying you, and you need to fulfill that role. So have you experienced anything else where you've seen employees firsthand just absolutely tanking?
Yeah, all the time. Let me give an example of that I've experienced. So I had a trainer, and this guy was a member, and one day he just asked me, I would love the opportunity to work here. I'll do whatever you ask, whatever. I'm like, man, you have no experience training. I gave him a chance, and I worked with him so much one-on-one, and started to become a pretty good trainer. And it felt, because one day he told me, no one in my family has been successful, and the most successful one, and I love my job. Feels good, right? So one day I talked, you know what, do you want to be a manager, but you're going to have these responsibilities? And right away, oh, no, I don't want to do all of that. Are you sure you're going to make a lot more? No, I don't want to do that. I doesn't interest me. Okay, whatever. So then, a few months down the line, we hire more people, and I make one of them the manager. Now, this guy doesn't want to listen to the new manager. He's ignoring them. He's talking back to members about that manager. So I'm going to put a stop to that. So I call him into the office. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I don't feel I'm being treated fairly. What do you mean? Well, he's new. Then he became manager. Didn't I ask you if you wanted to be manager? What did you tell me? And he's just quiet. I'm like, no, we're not going to stay quiet. What did you tell me? He's still quiet. I'm like, no, you're talking all that out there. You're going to talk right now. Tell me. He's just quiet. Why am I favoring him? It's because you're training him more. Yes, to be a manager. I offered that to you first. Do you think I wanted to hire someone new? You don't think I would rather hire you that I knew how good you were at training and to give you the opportunity? You actually made it harder on me by not taking that promotion, and I had to look for someone else. You think I wanted that? He couldn't answer. And that became a common thing. Everyone, oh, he's favoring the other guy. Okay, the other guy works his hours, plus he wakes up in the morning, does 2 or 3 boot camps. You don't want to do any boot camps. And those boot camps are going to bring you in an extra 2 to 3 grand a month, but you don't want to do them. But everyone always says, I'm unfair, and I'm not. I know 100% I'm not. So that's why it doesn't make sense to me. If you're a business owner and someone's killing it at your business, making you a lot of money, making life easier on you, you're going to treat them bad? Are you, Chris?
I mean, I know that some business owners do. I wouldn't, but
I don't believe that. I don't believe.
No,
I know what you say. I don't believe that because I've had many businesses, and my friends have businesses, and I've never seen that. Maybe it exists, but I 100% don't believe that.
Oh no, I know firsthand. I know of a firsthand example where I'm incredulous. I'm like, how is this happening? Why are they so stupid? Because these guys that I know about, they're going to lose great employees, and these employees are like holding up the business. But part of it is these guys are so oblivious that they're not paying attention, and they don't realize that these employees are what like really like, they obviously they're these guys are doing one job and the employees are doing the other, but they don't realize if the employees are gone, then like the whole business is going to like go to pieces. So I know of examples where it happens. It is counterintuitive, and I don't think it happens nearly to the rate that we're experiencing bad employees working. But I do know that it happens. But I mean, I think it's more of a rare, maybe not rare circumstance, but it's not as frequent. But there was another question I forgot to ask you on that. Was there anything that when you were talking, did you leave off on? Did I interrupt anything?
No. I got my point across.
Okay. Yeah. I think you reminded me that there's a lack of self-awareness. It's like, guys, like, how do you, like you said, that employee, you confronted him on this thing that he had been ignoring.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a victim. He wanted to be I don't know what kind of social cause, but like he wanted a social cause for himself, that he was being mistreated and that you were against him. And when he was confronted with that reality, he couldn't face it. He wouldn't acknowledge it. And I think that's what is happening with, we have a lot of lack of self-awareness. It's like, that's why you and I, like, sometimes we're at a loss, because we're like, well, what else needs to happen? You get paid more, opportunities, everything's there. And it's like, no, that's not enough. And I think it's a lack of self-awareness. And it's also, like you said, entitlement. Like, no, why am I not running the business? Because you didn't do anything to become the business owner.
Yeah.
And I think if there are any employees watching and they're like, no, you've got it wrong, then if you're in a bad situation, leave it, right?
Yeah.
And go to the next situation and see if you have a problem with that person.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with that person, leave the situation again.
Yeah.
Go to another place. And if you have a problem again, then at that point you have to look in the mirror and ask, have I just been really unlucky, or am I a bad employee?
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you truly deserve something, you're going to get it. If you don't have it by now, you just don't. And maybe it's nothing big, but little things you could change, right? Maybe I'm a good employee, but I'm isolated, and that kind of kills the vibe. Because you could have an employee that's isolated. He does his job. He's good, but energy is very important in the workplace. And if you don't bring that, sometimes, man, I like you, everything, but that got to go. You make the day longer for a lot of people, even though you do a great job. But let me just real quick, one more example. This was a recent one. So James, right? A business partner of mine. So before James became a business partner, he was just a trainer. And man, this guy's just the nicest guy in the world. You've met him. Like, he is nice. There's not one mean bone in his body. Like, the nicest guy you could meet. And he had a coworker at that time, another trainer, that they got along in the beginning. James would at least once a week take him out to eat. And I remember we had a team activity. James, what did he do? He bought him his first lottery ticket. I never bought one, and he won $100. It was cool. James bought it for him. James would buy unboxing equipment here and there, and they seemed cool. And one day I went to go check up on the business, and I see James being positive. Whenever James walked past that trainer, he would just look the other way. When James would give him a fist bump, he would just ignore him. And then he started talking bad about James. So I talked to him. I'm like, what's going on? He's on nothing. Then his thing was, no, I just had a bad day today. My bad. Okay. So I started looking at the video camera. I asked James, how long has this been going on? Because you're cool with him. He's like, it's been going on for 2 or 3 weeks. So I go back in the camera. I want to cuss at him, but I'm not going to cuss. But this guy's just horrible, horrible human being. Like, James always helps you out. Super nice to you. And I'm seeing the videos. He's just being disrespectful. So I'm okay, let me wait another week. I couldn't take it no more. I go talk to him. I take him outside. I'm like, what's going on? Members are starting to see that. They're seeing the energy. And yeah, people weren't signing up at that time. So he stays quiet like everyone. What's going on? Did James do something to you? Because if he did, I'll fire him. He's just quiet. Why aren't you talking? You've been silent for 2 minutes. You're gonna talk. He's like, and he stays quiet. What is he doing to you? You better tell me right now, because you're taking action by giving attitude and talking about him. You better talk. Now he gets nervous. He's actually shaking. Tell me. And you know what he tells me? I guess I'm just jealous of him. So, and I know that's the case in a lot of places, but when you talk to your employee, when they stay quiet, people make that mistake. You see them quiet and then you start talking over them. Okay, you understand? Yeah, no, you have to let them talk, because there's a reason they're feeling that way, right? And sometimes there's no self-accountability. And until they say it themselves, that's when self-accountability can kick in, like, oh, wow, I didn't realize it is me. But I don't know if that answered anything.
No, I think that's a really good anecdote, and it happens. And I think that's the way, as a business owner, you have to approach it, is just like, let's resolve this. And I think that's what's really important, is because when you have a bad employee, and what I've learned too is I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. You said that earlier. Like, I like to be open-minded, like, maybe it's just this. That's what I typically do in my head. Like, even if it's against me, I'm like, maybe it's that. And now I've become less inclined to do that, because what I have found over and over again is that people represent themselves right away. And when it comes to bad employees, they let you know right away, right? Like, if on the second day or the first week, they're already looking for vacation time, really bad sign.
Yeah.
If they're looking for breaks, if they're looking at their phone, that's another thing. I mean, the phone's got to go. And then I've heard that, oh no, you've got to keep their phone because that's how they are now. No, when you're on the clock, like, your phone has nothing to do with that. What if there's an emergency? When is there, like, I don't care. Like, that's not, like, if there's an emergency, you have to find out about it after there's work, right? Yeah. Like, this is not a, you are here to help me, not to help yourself. Like, this is a business. We are exchanging consideration with one another. I am paying you money in exchange for you doing XYZ. Your phone calls, your texts, that's for other times. But I see this in stores. I see the employees, they're just looking at their phones, and it's like,
it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, this is a really bad situation. So I am of the opinion, and I know there's a lot of, especially bigger companies like corporations, they're afraid to fire people. Yeah. I would fire someone in 1 second. If you know someone's bad, it's not getting any better. And there's no sense in waiting on it.
Yeah. You know what? So many businesses will save themselves, or they do what you just said. Let them go, fire them. Don't be scared. I'd rather slow down my service than give bad service, right? And yeah, but a lot of people don't want to do that. They're just scared. They'll stay with the bad employee, and I take that approach too now. Let them go. I give people the benefit of the doubt, but not as much as before. I'll do it one time and one time only. It is not coming around a second time, because people do show their true colors. They'll show it from the first week of work. In the interview, you could pick up too. But this is what I see with managers and business owners. All they do is have wishful thinking. They see the bad things, but they're ignoring it in the interview, thinking, no, like, they won't do that here. Or they'll just ignore it because I really need someone. They'll look the other way. But oh my God, it never worked. I've been guilty of that in the past, and guess what? It never worked. So don't do it.
Yeah, you can't. I think what a lot of times happens is people misapply optimism. You can't be optimistic. If something's bad, you just have to align, you have to label it as bad. And it's not like, you can't try to turn around. This is not, a workplace is not a rehab project. I can't fix your problems. You have to fix your problems on your own time. And when I talk about people tanking, sometimes that happens. They get hired, and then all of a sudden, it's not like we can't even get to work because I've got to try to convince you to put your phone down or turn your phone off, or to pay attention, or to actually, execute on your objectives and not get them wrong. And so if someone's incompetent, or if they're unwilling, you just got to fire them and be done with it. I know so many companies are afraid of getting sued. It's not like I'd rather be sued because the amount of damage that one bad employee can do is it's just almost immeasurable, right? Like one employee can take you in so many ways.
Yeah. And check this out. I talked to my wife about this. You as an employer, if you yell at them, approach them the wrong way, fire them, and everything wasn't noted the way it should, you could get sued. They're gonna say, "Oh, he caused me emotional damage, this, that," but they could do anything they want to you. They could mess up your business where you're going home, can't sleep, can't pay the bills. You're gonna lose your business, and they suffer no consequences because they just go get another job. I wish there was something with the government that they could get penalized for doing that, and then they wouldn't be doing these things that they're doing at work. But they'll protect the employees, and they will never protect the employers.
Well, and there's these a lot of times like corporations have these they'll have these it's like a month-long review period where it's like, okay, well, we if we executed on this, we should be firing you, but because we have to like play this game, we're going to wait and give you like there's a month-long period where we have to review your work and like document everything you do wrong. And I think that's the totally wrong approach. It's the scared approach. And I would rather, how much can, at this point, what if they say you yelled at them or you fired them wrongfully, how much are they really going to recover in a lawsuit? And so versus how much damage they can do. And it depends on the type of business you're running. But a lot of businesses are more sensitive and more vulnerable to damage. And, one, like if someone's filling out the wrong forms or if they are, like providing sensitive information to other people or not securing things, these are all things that can really cause a lot of damage, much more so than any lawsuit. So, but I mean, when you have something that's bad, it's not going to get any better. And it's not up to you to fix it. It's really on that person. They have to go and figure out themselves. But we, like you said, like there's just this, hoping it will turn around. It's just this optimism that really does inflict a lot of damage. And so, I mean, it's really important to be careful with the hiring process. And now it seems like it's just, I think, even in the interview process, you can glean a lot. And I think one question I would ask, I think this is a really good question. Are you going to be on your phone while we work? I would ask someone that would help you a lot.
No, that's important. So I changed up my interviews too. Now, stuff that has occurred in the past, I'm going to ask these questions on the interview. If this happened, what would you do? Would you come to me? Would you stay quiet? Would you do this? If you get a phone call, are you going to answer your phone? Or so you have to ask these questions. Even though, guess what? The majority are going to tell you what they want to hear. It's an interview. They're not telling you. They're telling you what you think you want to hear. I could weed that out with experience. I'm really good at that. Even my business partners, they get surprised when I tell them, no, this is about to happen. That person's going to do this. And at first, they used to ignore me. And now they're amazed, like, how do you know? I'm not trying to act like I know everything. I've seen this before. It happens over and over. Like, you'd be surprised how many people are very similar. They all do the same things. They start doing the same things. You know what it's going to lead to. But with experience, you stop it then and there and you move on. I used to let it escalate. Now I don't. And this is experience now that I'm passing on to my business partners, to my managers. But yeah, it's tough. You're gonna see in the near future more and more businesses are already closing and people don't want to work. So I'm trying to look at to do business overseas. And right here, when you put up an ad for a job, not that many people respond to it. So the dentist told me he has a dental assistant and only 3 people have responded like in a month almost for that job. So someone puts in Mexico for a gym, I'm looking for a receptionist, and the pay's I think $500 a month. In like 3 hours, there were 80 responses. I'm interested. Where do I apply? Where do I apply? So I start looking at this. I'm all, what's going on? Is it just this country where people don't want to work? It's scary, and a lot of people are going overseas now for business. And yeah, another okay. Let me give you one more story. So this was 3 weeks ago. Someone came in for a job interview. This lady said she has so much experience, but then I looked at her number. It wasn't from this country. She was from South America. So she said, "Oh, I was an engineer. I was this, but then I was a trainer. I have my license." So I asked her, "Oh, do you have your certification here?" "No." "Have you ever worked in any gym here? Can I get a reference?" "No, I've never worked. Since I've been here, I haven't worked." Okay. She thought, I can't speak English that good either. We still got her down there. We interviewed her. Her she really need. We have a lot of Spanish speaking customers, but she needs to know English, and her English was very, very bad. But we'll still give her the benefit of the doubt. So James offers her a good starting rate, higher than the average. You know what she tells us? "Oh no, I want to get paid this much. If not, I'm not going to work." "Well, we sorry, we can't offer you. You have no experience. Plus, we have to train you, and you don't know English. How are you going to give a class to 40 people with English instructors?" But we were still willing to work with her. No, she didn't take the job. No experience here, nothing. But this is what we're seeing. That we're seeing all the time.
Two more things from me before we go, and you just reminded me of one of them. The first is, I think this is I think really good advice, is that you should have your policies. What are your must requirements? Be upfront with them, have them documented, and present them to the employees. If I'm running a business, I'm going to insist on no phone calls while you are clocked in. If you're on a break, if you're on lunch, if it's before, after, fine. Otherwise, no texting, no phone whatsoever. If you can't agree to that, you can't work here, because I can't look over and watch you be on your phone. I just remembered I was at a restaurant, and the waiters, they're so addicted to their phone, they're turning around the corner and they're sneaking looks at their phone and texting between waiting tables. And it's just like, there are so many other things to do, and you just can't wait to get back to your phone. So that would be one thing where I would put in there for sure. And then other things, you can only be late, some of the standard stuff. You can only be late so many times, but whatever you've experienced where it's like over and over again, something is just like it's a no-go. Like, don't even leave it ambiguous. Like, don't hope that someone will meet that. Rather, have it in place and then tell them ahead of time and say, can you agree to these terms? And if not, you will be fired. You have to be that explicit with them, because that's the only thing that it seems this newer wave, this newer era of employees is going to at least somewhat understand. And in that way, if you want to fire them later, it's already been laid out.
Yeah.
The other thing you reminded me of is when I went to Mexico, and this was a few months ago, the amount of hustle I saw in the streets I wasn't even prepared for it. You had people, like, I saw an older lady, and this lady is probably, let's say, 60. She just started clapping and stomping her foot on the side of the street to get tips. She just invented a way to add entertainment while panhandling. And I was just like, that is the ultimate hustle. Like, she just invented something and made it happen. And you don't see this in the United States. You don't see that hustle. I just saw little kids running around, the shop owners sweeping up. Everybody was trying to get work done. It was like, let's go. And of course, this doesn't apply to everybody, but just the general business and work culture and in the place I was at in Mexico was just very much hustle, get it done. A lot of this was not intelligent. A lot of this was just brute force. I'm going to make this happen no matter what. I'm going to do something. And that is what, everybody here thinks they figured out. They're too smart. They're too cool. They can't just do the work. And in Mexico, it's the opposite. I'm going to make this happen. I don't care how it happens. It's going to happen. Here, it's just like, oh yeah, I can't do that. It's not for me.
That reminded me, for those who haven't read the book, Who Moved My Cheese? Have you ever read that book?
A
Chris,
long time ago. I forgot it.
it's a quick, like 30-40 minute book, but that's what it's about. You don't have to be smart. You just got to go do it, move forward. That's it. And you'll get there. And I see that a lot in Mexico too. It's like they're just working and they believe it's going to work and they're not going to stop until they do it. And I don't think we see that a lot anymore in this country. So I hope things change, but it's getting pretty bad.
Yeah, you have your entrepreneurs that are like, the entrepreneurs, they're going to bust their ass because everything's on them and they know it. There's no such thing as like a bad employee that turns into an entrepreneur because they're going to have a failed business every time. It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
So it never happens. But
and you can't be a good entrepreneur without being a good employee first.
Yeah, you have to have the work ethic in place.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you have to have the ability to work for yourself. Maybe, I think the ability to be a good employee, because some entrepreneurs are bad employees because they just don't like working for other people.
No. They're not, but I don't mean bad, meaning this. If you're an employee, that means you need to be able to work as a team, take orders, so that way when you become an entrepreneur, you could give orders, you could run your team. If you can't do that, I don't believe you could be a successful entrepreneur. Now, we're talking about different entrepreneurs. There's entrepreneurs that just work for themselves, whatever they do, me. I'm talking more about a business, running business, people working for you. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, some entrepreneurs, bad employees, but they could do it for themselves. Yeah, I understand. What I'm talking about more, it's like running actual business. Because to me, entrepreneur doesn't mean business. Self-employment is not a business owner, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm going to, that's all I had for this episode. Did you want to add any final thoughts?
No, I think this was a good one.
All right, that'll close this episode.